up.
Yeah, there was a time when you were out of town and I was at the mothership and everyone was doing like 4 or 5 things. I was like, you guys, when Joe leaves, we can't all just get addicted to drugs. Like, this is like when you're out of town, it is a little different up there.
Well, it's kind of an opiate. I don't know what exactly is kratom.
And
it kind of is an opiate.
It's legal?
Yeah, it's legal.
Okay.
Totally legal. I had a guy that was on my podcast once that used to be an opiate addict, and then he started taking kratom. And they were selling it as pills. And he said, well, if you take a small amount of it, it actually acts as like a stimulant. But if you take a larger amount of it, it's a different effect. So I said, how many do you take? He says, I take 10. I go, you take 10? He goes, I take 10 before I work out. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. So I took 10. And I was high as fuck. It's a weird high because it's like I felt like, I'm pretty aware of my body. So I'm like, my motor skills feel perfect.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like anything's wrong. Like I feel like I could go do stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like, like shit, like drunk or anything like that. I go, but I'm definitely affected. So what is this like? Would this affect judgment? Would this affect your reaction time? Like, I shouldn't drive like this.
But pain tolerance down, that's probably good for working out.
I guess. Is it though?
I did kind of used to like to smoke weed and work out.
I like
feel
smoking
like I
weed
could do
and working
more.
out. Yeah. Well, smoking weed and working out makes me feel like I know what my muscles are doing.
Yeah, you like feel every focusing more.
Fibers and shit. You know what it's really good for? Technique. Like when you learn martial arts technique, like there's certain things about like kicking a bag in particular. When I haven't smoked weed, I mean, I've been doing it my whole life, so I know how to do it. But then if I smoke weed, I feel like where the little leverage points are. Ooh. I feel like where the torque comes in. I feel the weight distribution. It's like just you're more sensitive.
Just more present in your body.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It makes you so much better at pool. It makes my pool game like there's a term in pool like a ball. Like say if we were playing 9-ball and you were better than me, you would give me the 8-ball. That means like it's a big advantage to have the 8-ball. That means I don't just win by making the 9-ball. I can make the 9-ball or the 8-ball. So that's like it gives you a ball. That means so like when I smoke pot, I'm 1 ball better. Like legitimately. I'm like 10% better easily, maybe more.
Is there any in pool like shade on taking Adderall or smoking weed or there's no like no one cares?
Yeah, people talk shit about you, but they all do it.
Right.
Like pool players are notorious drug addicts. They're fucking
like cocaine's probably great for pool.
I've met more. I didn't even know drugs. I didn't really understand drug culture when I started hanging around in pool halls. Because I had gone from being a fighter to being a comedian. So in fighting, there's no drinking, no partying, no nothing. All throughout high school, I was like, very rarely did I imbibe in anything. I was all just about competition. And then I started hanging out with comedians, and the ones that were doing drugs, like, God, their life was falling apart. Like, these people. Yeah. And then I started hanging out in this pool hall. And they were all doing drugs. Everybody was doing something. There was guys doing heroin. There was guys that were crack addicts. Like one of my best friends was a crack addict.
Have you seen this video where Boozy the rapper is endorsing crack over fentanyl? Have you seen? Dude, it's so...
Well, it's a good point. Crackheads live.
He's like, my crackhead friends I've known for 20 years. He's like, they're around. They can do anything. They have powers. And
then, crack is just cocaine. It's just another way.
You just cooked.
It's freebasing cocaine. And the scary thing is, even though we know that, it's one of the most racist laws that's ever been enacted, where the difference between the sentencing for someone who gets caught with crack versus someone who gets caught with an equivalent amount of cocaine, it's like a giant disparity.
Wow. Didn't Deion Sanders say this too?
Oh shit! Oh, I don't know who that is. It's Boozy, B-O-S-I.
No, this is also.
You've ever been on a field with?
Oh,
no, my cousin Junebug. He was a crackhead and good dude though, but he was very athletic because he was still stuff when I came home from college and could never catch him, and he would sell it, and I would have to go get it back at the hood from the drug dealers. He was probably the most athletic, my cousin Junebug. But next to that, I think it was both.
Just a June bug.
most athletic
Imagine there's some dude out there, Junebug the crackhead, that's more athletic than a guy who's widely regarded as being one of the most athletic humans that's ever lived.
And then the boozy one is
But Junebug's more athletic than Bo Jackson. What the
Junebug,
fuck?
the Bert Kreischer of the hood.
There was this dude I used to talk. I've talked about him many times, but his name was Water Dog. That was his nickname, or they would call him Buffalo Bill. And he was this pool player, and he would do heroin. So he would go into the bathroom and shut the door, and he'd be in there for 20 minutes, and everybody knew what he was doing. And then he'd go out and he'd sit on a bar stool like this, with his hands in front of him like a bird.
T-Rex, yeah.
Yeah, and just like this. And he would sit there for like 20 minutes, and then he would get down, and he had like gerbil eyes. They're like black eyes, and he couldn't miss. He would play pool, he just wouldn't miss. He just couldn't
Like he knew
miss.
how much time he needed for it to calibrate, and then when
He was so accurate. It was stunning. He had no nerves.
That's wild.
He didn't feel anything. Because pool is gambling. And like the reason why it's called pool, it's pocket billiards is the name of the game. But pool is pooling money together to gamble. So like the real pool players, almost all of them gambled.
And takes away inhibition, so you're not.
He had no fear.
Yep.
He had no nerves. He would just fire these balls into the hole. And this like really tight pocketed table playing for like $10,000. And I was like, this is nuts.
I wonder what it's like. I've never done heroin. Must be pretty awesome if people are trading their kids for it.
Yeah, I got morphine when I had my knee surgery once. It was like, by the way, if you hear me and I sound funny, ladies and gentlemen, I just got out of a cold plunge. I just got out. So I'm like, so if I sound like I'm on heroin, I'm just cold.
I want to do it.
So what was I saying?
Doing heroin, it takes all your fears away. The inhibitions. Oh, when you did methadone?
Oh, yes. So, no, it was
What was it? Sorry.
I wonder what that's like. I wonder what methadone's like in comparison to Hogan.
Isn't methadone basically Adderall? Like, we've done Adderall.
I think it's like a kind of an opiate, but it doesn't get you high. It just makes you stupid.
I don't know.
But
we can go to San Francisco and get some. I think you can just walk in now.
get it easy.
It's pretty
You don't
easy
even
to
have to
get.
have a prescription.
There's a drive-through now.
I had a knee surgery, and when I was in the hospital, they had me on a morphine drip. And apparently, this is in the 90s. I don't know if they still do this, but you could hit a button, and when you hit a button, you would get more morphine, and it was wonderful. Ooh. It was wonderful.
Have we ever done fentanyl, like at the doctor? Like, if I've gotten a surgery, have I done fentanyl, or is that propofol?
Propofol. Propofol is the stuff that puts you under. Fentanyl is a prescription drug, though. They give people fentanyl patches. There's prescription. It's just so strong. What is it, like 100 times stronger than heroin or
You want to see the
something?
boozy?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
pretty funny.